What's going on, everyone? This is John the Wolf VCom, and in this video I'm going to share with you exactly why Facebook is restricting your profiles, disabling your business managers, or your ad accounts. So whether you've had these problems already, like most people in e-commerce, dropshipping, affiliate marketing, or even online advertising have been seeing for the last 6 to 12 months or longer, you will absolutely have these problems in your future if you do not have a system in place, okay? So let's go over the top tips I put together for you after probably spending over $20,000 of my own money, maybe $30,000 of my own money at this point, testing different methods and processes for working around the bans and restrictions, and also working with probably 400 profiles at this point and just as many business managers, if not more. So the first thing that is absolutely going to trigger you to have banned accounts, disabled business managers, disabled ad accounts is going to be running conversion campaigns too fast. So what I mean by this is, let's say I gave you a few profiles right now today, and then you create a business manager immediately, and then you created the first ad account right after, and then you immediately added your credit card and immediately started running conversion campaigns. Almost every single time, from my experience and extensive testing of this, you're going to disable the ad account and the business manager with it almost immediately, if not within a few hours or days. I don't know why this is. Facebook started doing this in about January 2021. It was just a sudden change overnight, and I couldn't figure out until I just worked around it and tried a different method. So what I recommend you start by doing is to absolutely boost posts from the page itself. This will work around this issue that Facebook has in their system. It's basically preventing new advertisers from jumping into running conversions quickly or fast, okay? So the biggest tip I'm going to give you with you, obviously there's a whole process which I teach my students, which I help people do, but the biggest tip I'm going to give you right now that will absolutely help is by having you boost posts to start before you even think about doing conversions. That will save you tons of headaches and frustrations, I can promise you, okay? So make sure to boost posts before you start running your first conversion campaign. The second trigger that you're gonna run into very commonly with Facebook is going to be that you are going to need to add an advertiser or an admin at some point to your business manager. If you do this too quickly, if you do this in succession with adding other people or adding a payment method, for example, very quickly at the same time, let's say the same day or within the same few hours, you're far more likely to trigger everything and even restrict the profile from advertising. And once again, just like point number one, I have no idea why Facebook does this. It doesn't even make sense. You should be able to invite other people to advertise with you and have no issues around it, or invite other admin. Now, the only exception is going to be if the business manager has been in existence and has been running traffic for a couple days, a couple weeks, or even a couple months or years. You pretty much have nothing to worry about when it comes to this. But if it's a brand new business manager or a business manager that has not been advertised with, I can almost guarantee you will trigger things if you try to add an admin or another user on the business manager too quickly. Now, another thing that's almost guaranteed to trigger things to get disabled, restricted, locked out, whatever it may be, is to use more than 1 to 2 profiles per device. So I've tested it with this with everything from fancy little Nokia smartphones that were unlocked to using different laptops, using different iPads. If you have more than 1 to 2 even real profiles on one device, you're going to be typically sent to review your password, reset your password on a regular basis. You're going to be sent to two-factor authentication quite regularly. If you're using weaker accounts, farmed accounts, newer accounts, you're more likely to see those accounts get locked out temporarily or even permanently disabled. So what you're going to need is a system such as Multilogin. There are cheaper free versions out there. I mean, this thing's only 99 euros a month, which is like 115, 120 US dollars. It's totally worth it. The amount of time, energy, and money it's going to save you by using something that is proven to work with a process, of course, that actually does work and is it going to trigger things? Well, the free versions, I can't speak for them personally, but I know these guys are super sharp. Multilogin, these guys have been the original ones in the space of creating softwares that serve this exact purpose. They're regularly updating it, making patches, so they're always one step ahead of Facebook. Now, you probably don't need 100 profiles like I have here, well, 99 technically, but you will want to house your profiles on a software like this, okay? And if you're not sure what this is, basically each one of these is a profile that's on an individual browser session. Each browser session is almost treated like a unique device because it has its own unique set of cookie data, right? So like the browsing history, and also each one has a different IP address through what's called a proxy. If you're not familiar with what this is, make sure to check out my videos on Multilogin, okay, which you can see on my channel, some of my biggest and most popular videos I've done to date. So this is the ultimate system for protecting yourself from instant bans and restrictions for basically nothing, and also for having multiple profiles and accounts, because guys like this, even if they're the best accounts, you're still limited to one per device, and I don't really know what you could do after you warm it up, right? So I spent countless hours and days of my life using stuff like this, and it can work. It's just going to take you way more time than it needs to, especially today. One, you could join a program like mine, and then you get access to the best sellers when it comes to getting profiles, verified business managers, basically whatever you need, and of course staying up to date on what is and isn't working when it comes to Facebook and working around these systems, okay? So do yourself a favor, make the investment, get Multilogin, get proxies. I use my private proxy. They're super inexpensive. And then do your due diligence, put the work in, use the process, get real profiles, and do it the right way with Multilogin, because it's going to save you so much time, energy, and money in the long run. You're not going to be seeing things get flagged, disabled, and not being able to understand why. It's going to be a game changer for you, okay? But remember, one profile per proxy, basically like having one profile per device, but with Multilogin, you have it all in one place. It's awesome. The next thing is, when it comes to your process of going from first login to the point of conversions, which if you do it correctly, if you follow a process like mine, can be done in as little as 7 to 10 days safely, jumping to big budgets can absolutely trigger things. So you need to do this at the right time, in the right moment. You do not want to do this when you first make the business manager, for example. Even if you get it verified quickly, it's just not a good idea. This is a big trigger for Facebook. Once again, I don't know why. It just is what it is. Their system is designed to filter out whatever based on their algorithm. And for some reason, launching big budgets too soon, too fast, too early is one of those things that will trigger it. Here's a big one. This is one you overly connect things. So what I mean by that, if we look at my all my monster list of profiles here, so I got Alethea, I've got Alma, and I've got Baraka. Let's say each one of those has a business manager, which they do, and these business managers are verified, which some of them are. You're going to find that if, let's say, Baraka is invited to Alma's business manager, and then Alethea is invited as well, but Alethea also has a business manager, and all of them are running ads on their own business managers, you're gonna find that it's just gonna kind of cross-contaminate things. I always say, as dark as it sounds, it's kind of like a cancer almost, right? So if one of these, whether it's the profile page, the business manager, the ad account, if something goes down, it could infect everything and spread like a cancer. So you could very well wake up, if you're using all three of these to advertise in each one of their BMs, you could wake up and see everything restricted and banned, which is terrible. It's super frustrating. I've personally gone from doing, let's say, 5 to 10K a day in sales down to like $100 from whatever organic traffic was coming in, and I knew immediately I was disabled and restricted, and it was super frustrating. So just be aware that if you are overly connected, there are strategies and tactics to this. This is what I help people do. I'm not going to go super deep into on these YouTube videos, but in your mind, imagine how can I optimize things across multiple ad accounts, business managers, profiles, without connecting them more than I need to. That's like a huge thing. Like a big mistake I see a lot of people make is they add a page into a business manager. There's really no benefit to that. I personally haven't found one. Maybe there are some benefits, I just haven't been doing it. But what I do know is that if the business manager gets disabled, for example, assets such as pixels, obviously because it's part of the business manager, but even apps can get disabled, or not disabled, but locked into a business manager that is disabled if you can't appeal it, which most of the time you can't. So like one of my clients, she works for a holding company that has several brands, and one of the brands is an app. That app is inside of a business manager, and the business manager is disabled, and there's nothing they can do about it, and the app is basically just, they can't run any kind of conversion campaigns with it and track app installs, which is terrible, but it is what it is at this point. Okay, so just be aware of that. You need systems in place, or you are going to find yourself in a world of trouble. So another super common thing that you're going to see that you're almost guaranteed to run into is having a ad account get disabled, specifically an ad account, not a business manager, an ad account get disabled for suspicious activity. Usually you're going to have some type of notification at the top of that account that's going to say, verify your account. You're going to click on that and check the boxes that you were traveling in the last 90 days, why there's a mismatch in your location with your credit card, and put it some BS explanation. Then they're going to come back and almost every time ask you for a screenshot of your credit card statement showing the last four of the card and then also charges from Facebook. So this is super common. Just be prepared for this. This is very easy to do. You basically need a Access reinstated profile, a profile that has had identity confirmation in a recent period of time, which there are ways to do this, and you need to do the appeal with that profile and then also submit the screenshot. Very simple, very quick. Usually you get the account back within a matter of hours, if not days. It's annoying, it's a pain in the butt, but it just is what it is. And the last thing, my favorite, managing circumvention with pages. Now, we could probably do a whole video about this, and we probably should do a whole video about this. And what I will say about this is there are strategies, there are tactics. This is just a pain in the butt because it hits you when you least expect it, even if you're doing everything right. Okay, but by doing the right things, by following the right strategies, the right process, the right setup, everything in between, you are going to reduce your risk significantly. So let's talk about some of the common triggers regarding this real quick. So the first one that I found is going to be if you are reusing the same advertising profile. This absolutely can trigger the page to get hit with circumvention again, right? So one thing you could try is swapping out the dedicated advertising profile. I know that may not make sense to you. It's a part of our structure that I teach in our program, but having a dedicated advertising profile and swapping that out for another dedicated advertising profile that's clean after circumvention has hit your page and making a new page and introducing that page can solve the problem. That is one thing you can try. Another thing that could be triggering this is, let's say you do replace the page and then you go super aggressive, big budgets immediately right after. That can be another flag for what's triggering your page to get disabled for circumvention. Another thing that could be absolutely triggering circumvention is going to be when you reuse creatives that are identical. So you obviously need to split test the stuff to narrow down exactly what it is that's causing the issue, because sometimes it's hard to tell right away, even with a good structure, even with good strategies. So by narrowing it down, and then if you realize that it's the creatives themselves, fresh creatives, brand new, maybe even change up your product page URL so it's unique, and this could make a difference. And then the last thing is not managing your feedback score. There are services that will do this for you. There are strategies and tactics for rotating your pages in and out, but bottom line is this is a pain in the butt. This is why you need a host system, because the page score dropping or the page getting circumvention or disabled for whatever, for any of these reasons, could absolutely be reason why you get shut down, you get put out of business, and you can't figure it out. So having multiple silos, multiple structures can be a game changer. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out all the awesome free resources I have below this video. You can reach out to me on Instagram if you have any questions. You can also join my free Facebook group, which you'll see in the link below as well, and check out the other YouTube videos that I have on this very topic. I've gone very deep and specific in talking about working around the bans, the restrictions, the disablings, because it's all nuts. It's insane. I've seen the worst things happen to the best people, and sometimes the worst things happen to the worst people too. I'm not gonna lie. But nonetheless, make sure to follow my advice in this and check out my free guide that you can see the link below this video, and I'll see you in the next one.